Welcome back to another week of the Retro Gamers. What's going on? It's Larry here.
And Anthony over here.
How you doing? How's been your week?
My week has been fine.
Really?
Stuff's been happening.
Good.
Rig dislocation, the usual.
All right. Fun. Well, it's been a week since we last spoke. Have you gotten any further in Shining Force 2?
No, I regret to say that I haven't had time for it this week.
You lazy.
Stranger Things on Netflix caught my attention.
Yeah, what's up with that? I saw you talking about that on
It's so good.
What is it?
It's a show that takes place in the 80s, and they treat everything like down to the opening credits and the music, all 80s based.
Really?
Yeah, and it's about this town. Literally, it's about this town where these creepy things start happening. Kid disappears, and then like these monsters are there. It's just good old fashioned. Awesome television.
Comedy, or is it meant to be horror?
No. It's a total like sci-fi horror-esque kind of show.
Okay.
It's just it's a really good throwback. The only thing that's not really thrown back is Winona Ryder is old.
We've been trying. We cannot throw her back.
No, no matter how hard we try.
Yes, zing. All right. Well, 2016, it's funny talking about 80s nostalgia and stuff like that, but this year, it's a big year for gaming. There's a crap ton of anniversaries this year for video games.
Yes, there are, and I didn't realize that so many things came out at the same year.
Honestly, right? Pretty much every 5 years since 1976. Am I doing that math right?
Sure.
40 years ago. We'll get to that one in a moment. But pretty much something's happened every 5 years. So I guess what are we at now? So I guess in 5 years we're going to see the dawn of something new and amazing.
Or probably not.
Yeah, that's true. So let's get right into this. And these are all different anniversaries. I mean, we got 15-year anniversaries all the way up to 40 anniversaries. Now, this first one, and a couple of episodes ago, we even had a discussion on what's considered retro. So this first one's going to kick it right off. It's the 15th anniversary of GTA 3, which was on the PS2, which I feel is retro.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I'm not ready to commit to PS2 and Xbox as retro yet.
When the PS5 comes out, maybe?
You know what? That's a whole other conversation we can get into, which we did already, actually. Yes. So let's not bore everybody with that again.
But still, 15 years ago, GTA 3, which pretty much started the whole craze of the new GTA games. I mean, well, all right, let's talk retro. The original Grand Theft Auto on PlayStation. I mean, that was groundbreaking.
Oh, God, I love that game. I can still play that game and have a blast. In fact, GTA 3 was the last GTA I played.
Yeah, I remember I played that hardcore back then. That was college time. But I remember, the first GTA was, the first game that really had the criminal as the good guy, or as the, I guess good guy in the game or something.
Yeah, you got to kill people and steal cars and make money.
Run them over, yep, totally. And then remember GTA, the London, the add-on? That weird add-on that you had to have the first game for?
Yes, I remember that.
That was fun. So,
really cool.
15 years ago, GTA 3. I remember 15 years ago, and wow, that was a long time ago.
I remember playing it and always trying to figure out how many stars can I get before they all converge and blow me up. And because like once you hit like 3 stars and they started chasing you, it was great. But then when you hit 4, it's literally like police cars flew out of nowhere just to kill you.
and GTA.
The helicopter.
You're right. Oh, the helicopters. Oh, I just played Division with a helicopter boss. That was ridiculous. And GTA 3 also marked the first into the 3D portion, as we know it today.
Open world type of game, yeah. That open world game was sick.
All right. Now, 15 years ago, I remember. 20, I barely recollect, but we had some good stuff 20 years ago. Crash Bandicoot debuted 20 years ago on PlayStation. Crash being probably, correct me if I'm wrong, the original attempt for PlayStation to have a mascot? Maybe not original, but one of the first.
One of the first, and to be honest with you, I've never played a single Crash Bandicoot game.
I think I played 1 or 2. I may have had 1. That was always weird because you were moving forward on it.
Yep.
It was kind of, but again, that was also PlayStation debuted that whole view that I don't even, it wasn't even really a first person view, but that view, 3D view, I guess if you want to call it.
Yeah, I actually have to go back and like try one of those.
And I know Crash is coming back in one of the new Skylander games, so I guess that's probably
I heard about that.
Anniversary. Also, with a new game coming out this year, but 20 years ago, it debuted the one of the original horror genre games, Resident Evil, on the PlayStation.
That was one of my favorite games by far. Resident Evil 2 was kick-ass, but the first Resident Evil, I still remember the dog jumping through the window and scaring the crap out of me.
I think I never played the original Resident Evil, but I played when they remade it on GameCube, and was even more horrifying when the dog jumped through.
Yeah, it was just awesome game, great story, spawned an entire series in video games and film.
The opening was, correct me if I think the opening was live action opening, wasn't it? Live action video? I feel like it was.
I don't think it was it live action video first person?
No, not first person, but like, because remember when PlayStation came out, a lot of their stuff was video, because it was a CD, they were trying it out. I think the original PlayStation, the original Resident Evil was people. Just for the opening, and then
you might be right. I mean, now that I'm thinking about it,
the mansion.
Yeah, I think so.
I hated the controls on Resident Evil. I won't lie to you. It was weird. Like, it was just weird controls. That and Tomb Raider.
Well, yeah, I loved Tomb Raider. But the controls, I get it, because you had to hold down a button just to like point your gun, and then you had to turn and shoot. Yeah, it was a little clunky, but at the time, it was the most amazing game ever.
Oh, yeah. And it also introduced, in my opinion, the dumbest thing ever, the limited saves. But that's just my opinion. Oh,
yes, those were awful. I mean, I would just leave the game paused at times because I'm like, I don't care if you freeze. I can't go on anymore.
That poor disc. Just spinning.
Spinning forever.
And then speaking of consoles, there's a big console anniversary, the 20th anniversary of the Nintendo 64, which I liked better than the PlayStation, just because I was a Nintendo geek boy growing up.
You were biased.
But the N64, that I think really kicked everything into high gear, especially games.
You liked the Virtual Boy better than the PlayStation.
You know what?
How did that work out for you?
How dare you? That system is awesome.
Not seeing red anytime soon?
Wait for that to come out on the Virtual Console, the 3DS. I'm just waiting.
Yes, that's when I promptly, set my Wii U on fire.
I remember. Do you remember when I brought the Virtual Boy over to your house when I first bought it?
Yeah, I played it for 2 minutes and said, I can't play this. It sucks.
Well, you're one of the 10% that probably didn't see 3D.
I did not see any 3D in it whatsoever. All I saw was red games.
Oh, it was such a hump
Awful
to bring it to. Oh, my God. But let's talk about something a little bit more fun, the N64. That, I mean, we can go on for hours with the number of amazing games that came out on the N64.
Well, Super Mario 64 literally changed the landscape of video gaming.
Totally.
There's no question about it. And that game, like, the replay factor in that game is just astounding. Like, I pick up that game now and I can just barrel through it. I mean, granted, it takes forever, but like I can just play through that game and love every second of it today.
Not only
20 years later.
Totally. And probably one of on par with Zelda Link to the Past as far as the greatest Zelda game, in my opinion, is Ocarina of Time.
Ocarina of Time. No question. I've played through that game, I think, at least 2-3 times, and I never get tired of it.
Game was fantastic. Majora's Mask can be thrown down a well. But
I'm sorry, Majora's Mask was awesome too.
I couldn't stand Majora's Mask. I tried it. Game. I bought it.
I love that game.
I mean, what I remember my fondest memory of N64. I remember went to we even know East Coast here, West Coast over there. We grew up in Brooklyn, and remember the Toys R Us on Knapp Street before they redesigned it.
Oh yeah,
with the back wall with all the video games.
No, not Knapp Street. You're talking about Flatbush.
I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. Flatbush. I apologize. And then you pick up the ticket, and then you had to go into the back wall and stuff like that.
Yep, I remember that.
So I remember the N6.
I remember the Christmas shopping portion of that when my mom had a ticket for a game I wanted, and of course they didn't have it anymore. Oh man, I got to. You ever tell you about the WrestleMania story? The WrestleMania video game story? No.
Oh, real quick. All right, segue. So we went, something like that. It was probably around the holidays. And WrestleMania, that original NES WrestleMania game came out. So my parents brought me and, bought the ticket, blah, blah, blah. Went to the back. And all right, how can I explain? We have to set it up for people. So past the registers would be this caged, well, not a cage, but it was like glassed off area where you pick up the video games. And this was back during the NES game. So if everyone remembers the NES boxes when you bought a game, they were all lined up on the shelf. And a lot of times, like, I'd go and just stare at all the different games that are available. Because, 6, 7 years old.
Loser.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, only child, so that's all I had. So, it's just cool to watch. So anyway, I'll go back there, give the ticket to the guy. The guy's like, oh, sorry, we don't have any. All right, no problem. So I'm looking, and on the shelf, on top of the games, was a copy of WrestleMania. So I'm banging on the window like, sir. Pointing at the game, guy's like, oh, kid's like, thank you. Kid was probably 15 who was working behind the counter. Grabs it, I'm like, sweet, I'm going to play WrestleMania tonight. Goes, gives it to somebody else. So I proceed to start crying because that's what I did. And so
like we spoiled little only child.
Totally. So went home. I was mortified. Blah blah blah. A couple days later, maybe. Yeah. Come home from school and sitting on top of the TV was a copy of WrestleMania. Long story short. My mother went, got the game, got the kid fired because he gave the game to somebody else.
Wow.
And I ended up at WrestleMania. And I'm pretty sure my mom somehow got a deal on it.
Wow.
That was one of the few times she's gotten people fired, which was fantastic. All for the lady at the library was a legit reason, but still, it's fantastic. Where were we? N64.
Let's get back to the video games and not how your mom gets people fired.
Oh, she was a whiz
to appease her only child.
That was awesome. I loved it. N64. So we bought the N64. I remember buying it, but the games weren't available yet. So I actually owned the system for a good week and a half before the games was even available. For some reason, Toys R Us didn't have them in stock yet. But they had the system in stock. And that Nintendo 64, I think, was the first system that didn't come prepackaged with a game.
No, you are... Wait.
It did not. I know for a fact.
No, you are correct. And here's my N64 story. And actually, it'll be... It's not going to be similar to yours, but it'll be a spoiled brat story for sure.
Nice.
But spoiled brat as in I was 18. So... So the N64 debuted in September of 1996, and my birthday's in October. So, I told my mom, I go for my big 18th birthday, because I'm a fucking loser, pardon the language. But
we're allowed one each show, and so far you're dropping each and every one of them.
So because I'm a loser, I'm like, oh, you know what? I want an N64 for my birthday, and my mom's like, okay, sure, fine. But it was coming out in September. I didn't want to wait. So I wanted it day of. So I had to coerce my mom into buying it for me the day of release so that I didn't have to wait until the end of October for it. And she did it. She was great. I even talked her into buying both games that came out that day, which were Mario 64 and Pilot Wings 64. So I got my N64. Literally, I remember standing outside and waiting to go in to get it, and I got it day of.
I thought you were going to say you had to trick your mom into making her think your birthday was in September.
No, I'm sure I could have done that, but I figured why. No, I just guilted her into getting it for me a month early.
I remember for some reason they didn't get Mario 64 in. Like, there was something weird with the delivery, but they got Cruisin' USA. That was the first game I actually legitly had for the N64.
Wow, that's lame.
Yeah, I had no choice, and I did have a choice, but I didn't want to wait.
I was playing Mario 64, and you were stuck with Cruisin' USA.
Cruisin' USA. So, but yeah, that's the sweet N64.
I will always love that system, and I still play it. I'll still plug it in and play
totally. There's some awesome games for it. And that's the big 20, the big 2-0, 25th anniversary. Another big, these are some big names here. Sonic the Hedgehog for Genesis is the big 2-5. And Sonic has had its fair share of fantastic games and really bad games, but still, Sonic, that game will hold up for the test of time. The original game by far, but I would argue that the Sonic Adventure on Sega Dreamcast was also pretty fantastic. Oh, that was awesome! No, definitely on a different level, because that was
3D.
That's pretty much Sonic Adventure is to Super Mario 64, as Sonic the Hedgehog is to Super Mario Brothers.
Correct.
So, totally. But with the OG Sonic, And I was late to the game with Genesis. All joking aside, all I had was Nintendo because
because you were a Nintendo snob. You can admit it.
Not only that, but we used to afford one system.
No, we used to make fun of you all the time because we'd be like, "Oh, this new system's coming out." Sega Gen, no, stick with my Super Nintendo. I like my Super Nintendo. It's better.
I didn't get a PlayStation until college, so
yeah. Well, that's your fault. You were missing. And I'm assuming you only bought PlayStation because, WWF SmackDown came out on
SmackDown 2 was coming. No, the first one. You're right. The first one, and I had to go get it. It was the first time I ever bought a used system.
Wow.
But Sonic, Sonic of the, let's say the first 4 on Genesis, I'm including Sonic and Knuckles. I actually, even though it's the 25th anniversary of the first game, I enjoyed 2.
Yeah, 2 was my favorite also, Sonic and Tails.
Yeah.
But I remember when I first played that game. And I think what struck everybody about that game when it first came out was it was so fast.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Because when you play Mario, like Mario moves across the board and everything. Then granted, he moves fast, but that one it was so fast and it was so bright.
Yes.
The colors were bright.
The music was great.
The music was great. It was so upbeat. It was just so fun. And I feel like most of them were, with the exception of Sonic Spinball, which I
You didn't like that game?
No, I hated it.
It was slow. It was sluggish, but it was fun.
I get the concept. Oh, look, he can turn into a ball. Let's make it pinball. And I'm like, no. Did not work for me.
And this is back in the day when Dr. Eggman was Dr. Robotnik, which is such a much cooler name than Dr. Eggman nowadays.
Did they call him Dr. Eggman now?
Now they do, yeah. I don't know. At some point they renamed him Eggman because he's shaped like an egg.
I wonder if they switched it because Robotnik sounds Russian.
Oh, maybe. He looks Russian. I don't know. He has that big mustache and everything.
Right, and the Berlin Wall came down. You don't need to name evil villains Russian anymore. Except in Bond movies.
And if you want to watch probably one of the funniest YouTube series, like show series, you got to go watch look up Sonic for Hire. One of the funniest shows.
Oh, I've seen that. It's so good.
Oh my! They did like 7 seasons. Each episode's like 3 minutes, but still, so fun. And it was very much based with Sonic Tales and all them. Oh god, it was so funny.
Yeah, I do remember that.
And then do you remember when that whole Sonic and Knuckles came out with that whole attach? You put the one cartridge on top of the other.
Yep. And
did you get a kick out of that?
I didn't understand the appeal to that. It was like buying the 32X. I thought it was kind of pointless.
I don't know. I thought it was interesting because you got to play Knuckles in like Sonic 1, 2, and 3. And I guess especially Sonic 1, you weren't able to play anyone else other than Sonic.
Very true.
And I guess supposedly there was hidden areas. I don't know. But nevertheless, a big 2.5 for Sonic the Hedgehog. I heard they may be doing... Oh, he's got a movie coming out next year. That's right.
Sonic?
Sonic, they're making a movie.
Who's playing him?
I don't know, but it is going to be mixed with live action. So we'll see how that goes.
That spells trouble.
Moving on to the big 3-0. These guys are moving up in the world. Zelda and Metroid. Again, the original games on the NES. Legend of Zelda and Metroid turning 30 this year.
Yeah, Zelda's probably... I can almost argue that Zelda is my favorite game of all time, and I'm talking the original.
Oh, yeah. And actually, and Metroid is one... we talked last week about with the mini NES and how, like, Kid Icarus, I didn't play at all till like a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Yep.
Metroid, I never even really played till about, like, when the Wii came out in the Virtual Console and I was able to download the game.
I remember playing Metroid, but the problem I had with it is I could not figure out what I was supposed to do, so I never ever finished the game. And to this day, I still haven't finished it. Now, because back then, games would just drop you into... you drop into the game and you figure it out.
No internet.
Yeah, exactly. If you had the instruction booklet would probably give you a little bit of a story. I was like, but otherwise, same thing with Zelda. Like, literally, the screen opens and, Link is just sitting in the middle of the screen, no sword and anything like that, and you're like, what do I do?
Yeah, what's this little empty black box up here? Oh, it's a cave. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you have to figure these games out for yourself. And Metroid was one of the ones where it's like, I just did not want to figure it out. So I never did.
But both, don't get us wrong, both Metroid is an amazing series that led to amazing games down the line.
Oh, no, the NES game is amazing.
So we're not knocking it for that, but and back then with Zelda and Metroid, 30 years ago, you had to use Nintendo Power. You had those special edition
hotline.
The hotline, that's something separate, yep. Which is not as friendly as it was shown in The Wizard.
The Wizard. How old is the Wizard? I think the Wizard is now 27 years old. I think that came out in 89.
Super Mario Bros. 3 came out in 89?
I think so.
No, couldn't have. 91.
Was it later than that?
Because remember the Wizard debuted Super Mario Bros. 3.
Yeah, but I don't think Super Mario Bros. 3 came out exactly when the Wizard came out. I'm pretty sure the Wizard was 89. Now I'm going to have to IMDb it.
We're on it. All right, you're on it. All right, good.
I'm on it. I'm on it.
But still, and Metroid, I mean, I've played later Metroid games like Metroid Fusion on the Game Boy Advance. Phenomenal game. I played a few of the Wii. Was there a Metroid on 64? They may have skipped N64.
They may have skipped it. I don't remember.
But Zelda, again, we can go on for hours about the games.
The Wizard. The Wizard. 1989.
Wow. All right. I stand corrected.
Yeah, you should be.
To this day, I still don't like Lucas. The one with the...
he was such a jerk with the Power Glove.
Yeah, because he was the only one who could use the Power Glove.
Yep.
I could barely wear the Power Glove.
I just remember him saying, yeah, I love the Power Glove. It's so rad. And Super Mario Brothers 3 came out in 1988, actually. It came out before
that. Wow, really? Did it? Oh, my God.
October 23rd, 1988.
Wow, when did Super Mario Bros. 2 come out? Because I feel like that came out in like...
Oh, God, do we have to remember that one?
Because I remember getting Super Mario Bros.
July 1987. Or actually, no. Wait, hold on.
Well, to be fair, they could have turned it because that...
Actually, Super Mario Bros. 2 was released October of 1988 in North America.
I was going to say, yeah, because this is different. And
maybe
were
they back to back, or was Mario 3 later?
I feel like
for
Mario
US.
was in the 90s.
Might have been later for US. Because initial release dates in Japan were always like a year earlier.
Oh, totally, yeah. And not only that, but our Super Mario Bros. 2 was a different game, Doki Doki Panic, over in Japan, that they just slapped Mario on.
Correct. So in the U.S., Mario 3 was released February 9th, 1990.
And then I got it that Christmas.
Right. So the Wizard did come out before
and
Mario
that's
3.
What debuted the game. Right.
At which point the Japanese were laughing at us because they're like, we've been playing this game for honestly, 2 years. Right? Ha, ha, ha.
This game rules.
It's so rad.
California. All right. So, moving right along. So 5 years before Zelda and Metroid, even before the NES probably at this point.
Now we're getting into before you were born.
Yeah. No, I'm 36.
Where are we at, 35 now?
We're at 35, yeah. I was one when this happened. Reagan was getting shot probably when this arcade game came out.
Reagan was getting shot and you were in diapers.
Reagan was shot on my first birthday, March 30th, 1981, and there's a picture of me smiling on my first birthday and Reagan getting shot live on television behind us.
Yeah. Now that's something you should have gotten signed by Reagan.
Donkey Kong debuts in the arcade 35 years ago, and that's another game that led to an iconic figure of Donkey Kong, whether as a hero or a villain, or at this point, a villain back then.
Yep.
I'm not even talking about a villain in pixels. I'm talking about, in this game, the original Jumpman, the original version of Mario, hitting here, and Donkey Kong. Obviously, I was 1. You were 3, something like that. So
yeah, but I could have still played it at 3.
Well, in other words, I don't remember playing it in the arcade, especially when it first came out. But certainly on the home, NES versions, or nowadays you can get it on. It's for free at some points. That game was good. King of Kong. You ever see that documentary, King of Kong?
Yes, that was an excellent documentary. Too.
So it's definitely King Kong. Donkey Kong definitely, I think, brought probably where Pong started it all. I think Donkey Kong kind of kicked it into high gear with that souped up graphics. That wasn't asteroids or anything like that.
Right. Donkey Kong was such a hard game. I know, you have that documentary on it, but I remember playing that game. Even today when I play that game, I'm sorry, it's just so hard.
Have you ever played the arcade original? Because the one on NES
yes, I have.
Is not the arcade original.
No, I have played the arcade original, and yes, it's hard.
It is ridiculous. No, you know what I'm talking about with the extra board, with the pie levels. Say, okay, good. I want to make sure because I know on I forgot how I got it. I think it was my Nintendo Club reward, but I actually got on the 3DS the original arcade version with the Pie Factory stage, which I never played until recently. I've heard about it, but I never played it.
Very cool.
And that steps up a notch. And it's funny, too, because I don't remember seeing that stage in the documentary.
I don't think they ever covered it in there, to be honest with you.
So,
and just so you know, since we talked about the Wizard, that little kid, the little Jimmy Woods kid, he's still a working actor.
Really?
Yeah, and he was in Newsies, and he was in Little Big League.
I think I knew Newsies. I didn't know Little Big League.
He played high school guy in American Pie. In American Pie 2.
Did he really?
Yes, he did. High school guy.
I wonder...
he's been on TV shows. He's been on Without a Trace. He's been on Close to Home. He's been on True Detective.
So in other words...
he's got 4 things in post-production right now.
Really? Holy cow.
So that little kid's still working.
Give him a call. Maybe you can use him for something.
Yeah, I know. It doesn't look like he has a lot of lead roles, so maybe I can finagle it.
Yeah, one line, kid. California. Or the girl.
Well, I can't get Christian Slater now. Thanks, Mr. Robot.
Bo Bridges. Come on now.
Oh, him I can get for $1.
Really waking up and he's like obsessed with the first Turtles game? Come on now. Give me a break. No one is obsessed with the first Turtles game on NES.
Oh my God, the actress who played the girl in that movie.
He touched my breasts.
Her photo on IMDb looks like a mugshot.
It probably is.
Either that or she's stoned. I don't know which.
35 years ago, Donkey Kong. Happy birthday, DK.
Happy birthday, DK. Sorry for the tangent. We had the Wizard 10.
And then a honorable mention. I just think it's pretty interesting. 40 years ago. Now, I always thought Arkanoid was the one that started this genre of ball bouncing game.
But no, you couldn't be so wrong.
No, I was totally wrong. 40 years ago, Big 40 Breakout, which is the precursor to Arkanoid, came out in the arcade. Pretty much, I guess, for those back in the day, a vertical Pong.
I was going to say you are incorrect. There was Breakout followed by Super Breakout.
Oh, my apologies.
Before Arkanoid. I actually had Breakout and Super Breakout on Atari.
Really?
Oh yeah, they were awesome.
Yeah, in fact, now you mention it, you're right. Wow.
I think I still have one of them, and I have the paddles. Because on Atari, you used to have the paddles that you would play those games with. Worked out really well for like Missile Command and stuff.
Oh yeah, right. Oof.
So,
but 40 years ago, Breakout. Holy
40
cow.
years ago, Breakout. Wow. And then, of course, thanks to Breakout, we did get Arkanoid, which is probably the best version of that game.
That's the one that really made it hit on all cylinders, totally.
No question.
So,
no
well,
question
happy birthday to all those. Who knew 2016 would be such a popular year?
I know. I'm going to go break out my N64 and totally ignore my Shining Force 2.
No pun intended. Break out your N64.
I'm going to break... You know what? You go break out your Virtual Boy and cry a pool of tears into that damn thing.
Don't you dare. Actually, wait a minute. I guess by virtue of the N64 being 20, I mean, so should Super Mario 64.
Yes, Super Mario 64 is equally 25 years old, and that I wonder if that makes it more monumental. It does. I think
say,
Mario 64 did.
And it got what's his face his first job. The guy who does the voice of Mario now. It's me, Mario. That guy.
Oh yeah, that guy. He still does it, right?
Yeah. Oh, to this day, yeah, totally. He loves it. So
yeah. So and for anybody anybody listening who cares, the Virtual Boy debuted in 1995 in North America and was discontinued in 1996.
So there you go. 20 years ago, the world lost a valuable piece of hardware.
Well, let me rephrase that. August of 1995 was when it debuted in North America, and it was discontinued March of 96. So what was that? It lasted 7 months?
Right around my birthday.
It lasted 7 months.
Well, on that...
Happy birthday, Virtual Boy's death.
And on that note, thank you very much. But, let's go back. Let's play some of these games. Hopefully you guys are listening are playing some of these games. And we'll see what's coming up next with all these anniversaries coming up.
Yeah, I know. I can only imagine what next year is going to bring.
We'll have to see. So with that being said, thank you for joining us here on the Retro Gamers. Larry saying so long.
And Anthony saying thank God.